Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Edward. How are you? And to the entire team of TAFFD. How's everything there? It's 9:30 in the evening right now.
Yes, we have people on from all time zones, from the west coast of the US through to the UAE, Bangalore, and I did see somebody from Tokyo, from Japan as well. So we have lots of people burning the midnight oil either end. So welcome. I'm glad you could join us.
Yes. So the first of all, I hope everybody is safe and everybody is keeping well. The times are really hectic, and we are witnessing something which we haven't witnessed, as something of my age at least we haven't witnessed before. So speaking about psychology of leadership and technological age, I don't have any presentations. I will just speak about my experiences into the leadership styles which I have been practicing in this area, in this technological age and ever evolving societies and communities. First, we need to understand that what does psychology do? We know every human being has a typical behavior. Every human being is unique, and every human being has a typical leadership style. You know, it can be democratic, it can be nurtured, it can be authoritative, or any kind of a leadership, or a mix and match bag of leadership styles. But to analyze and understand that leadership, that is where psychology comes into play, and that is what we have been trained at. That, you know, understanding human behavior and human tendency in situation, what kind of leadership a person can exhibit in different situations, that is where our role comes into play. Leadership, first we need to understand as well that leadership is something which is, it's a debatable thing whether you are born with leadership or whether you are learning leadership, you know, as we move into different milestones of your life. It's a debatable thing. But according to me, as a practicing psychologist, it's an ever-evolving thing, because people are born with tendencies to exhibit leadership, but it's only the environmental factors or your situations which come into play, the interplay of, you know, genetic and environment, which actually tells you what kind of leadership or what kind of leadership style you should exhibit in a situation. Now, for example, a person like me, if I take from where I started off, I initiated my organization. Obviously, me being a leader, I have to manage a lot of people. I have a huge team of people of approximately 150 people across the globe. And every time I have to put on different leadership styles. You know, sometimes I have to be very authoritative. Sometimes I have to be very caring and nurturing. Sometimes I have to be a very executive kind of a leader. So all these things come into play in one person only, but me as a person, I have to see that what leadership style will be suitable in what situation, and that is what we do in technological age. Yes, with technology, we are growing, we are scientifically evolving, we are challenging ourselves every day to adapt to new innovations, but our leadership styles have to adjust and cope up with this, you know, rapidly changing world. As an effective leader, a person has to be very result oriented, hopeful, and also has to be a guiding person for the entire team. Now, when I lead a team, if I am not able to perform something, I will not be able to expect my team members to follow or, you know, perform this. And this is the kind of leadership which I have been exhibiting since the past 4.5 years of my career and my organization. We started off with one person, and today we have 150, 160 people across the globe. So this is the kind of leadership I expect even my colleagues to follow. I tell them what to do, I show them what to do, and then I expect them that how it has to be done. As a leader, I have to take in ideas. As a leader, I have to take in suggestions. As a leader, I have to do brainstorming, and then only I can tell a person what you should do in what situations. Now, there are some people who say that technology has actually, eradicated the human tendencies, or you can say like the artificial intelligence, which we talk about. So technology is actually taking over humans. But me as a person We are the ones who have built up technology. Technology is not the one who is building up human beings. So everything is coming out of humans. Technology is a different thing and human leadership is a different thing. We should not mix both of them together. Rather, we should move simultaneously, hand in hand, and then we can achieve our goals or whatever. Third thing, leadership is always conditioned. So when I move into a situation, my human conditioning has to be very strong. I should know that what situation I am going to cater, what situation I am going to be in, and that is what my leadership style will come into play. And all of this, your past experiences come into play. Because as we say, the definition of psychology, it is something analyzing of human behavior, experiences, and cognitive processes. So your experiences in leadership do play a very important role in what situation and what aspect you will be displaying that leader in leadership. Edward, many times I have been interviewed in different magazines about leadership, that how I run so many organizations, how I play my role into mental health, and how I play my role as a business entity, and how I play my role as an ambassador to African diaspora. All these things, when I look at a package, a very different person in business, and I'm very different person when I'm exhibiting the role as the ambassador. But all these things come from experience, and all these things do come from your learning, which you have learned from gaining experience while you were working. So this is generally my understanding of leadership, moving hand to hand, showing people what to do, how to do, keeping expectations which are very moderate, not too high, not too low, always motivating a person, which is very important. Reinforcement is the key for an effective leadership. And a leader should not lose hope on anybody, of any of his colleagues, any of his teammates. That is a part of effective leadership. So this is what I have learned in these 4.5 years. And this is what I have been exhibiting throughout the globe where I'm working. Leadership definitely is a very important part of entrepreneurship. Leadership is very important in this ever-evolving time. And more than leadership, effective leadership is important, not just leadership. So I'm happy to take any questions if you have, Edward, because this was just a very small brief which I had prepared to speak. Small, crisp. I spoke from my experiences.
No, thank you very much. Because I think I neglected to say that obviously your experience, you are and have been an advisor to a number of organisations, but also governments as well throughout the region. So you're very well travelled. Obviously, the current situation is, like myself, we're grounded and relying on connections via technology. What would you, in terms of the leadership styles and the psychology, what would you add if you had to give one nugget of advice to organizations where the leaders are in this current period not sure because of the uncertainties how they're going to both survive this current period without going bankrupt, but also how they could best support and serve their employees and their customers alike? Oh, sorry, could you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry. Did you hear me? I was just asking if there was one nugget of information that you could share with not just the leaders on this conference, but obviously we're going to be sharing this afterwards. One insight and knowledge that you've gained over the years of how, not just how, you know, because there are a lot of businesses and a lot of organizations that their leaders are trying to manage the current situation, but how what advice, from a psychology perspective, that you could give to those leaders that are looking to support and reassure their employees and their suppliers and their customers ultimately?
See, obviously, it's a very terrible times right now, and even I see my parents, my families who are into businesses, so they are also losing some kind of hopes, you know, because obviously it's all about money at the end of the day. How will we earn and how will we survive? How will we cater to our employees, etc., etc. But you know, the one piece what I have learned in my career so far is, see, you being a leader, you have to look at other people, and when you yourself will be so demotivated, rather than accepting the situation the way it is, because it is not something which you have created intentionally. Now, at this point of time, it is something which has been created and the entire world is suffering from it. We are all inside our homes. We are not doing as much as work. Some people say that. And we are not earning as that much of, you know, etc., etc. But, you know, we, as a visionary leader, you just cannot get stuck and get demotivated at this point of time, because this will automatically, it times, and the rebound again will happen. You know, we will again rejuvenate ourselves to work. At this point of time, they should only be focused on accepting the situation the way it is and moving ahead. Rather than thinking of what is happening, better you spend time with your team on virtual conferences, strategize what to do ahead, rather than just sulking in that, you know, what we will do, what has happened, how will the money come in, etc., etc. So this is actually, Edward, I said on different platforms, even yesterday and day before yesterday, my work has tripled during coronavirus. I am actually becoming more productive rather when I was just traveling, meeting people, doing conferences. Because I'm spending time with myself, I'm thinking how to polish the organizations which I have launched, how to even motivate my own team, which is very important. And trust me, it's working out really well, because we all sit and we strategize that how we are going to rebound again. And your time goes by, because every day something new will come up. And this is a changing, you know, things will not stop here. It might happen sometime, let's say after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years again. So we have to accept ourselves, and we have to just, you know, keep on moving the way we are as an effective leader, because there are, as a leader, you should not forget there are people who are following you. So you have to be an example to them at least. So that's what I feel, and that's what I have been doing.
Yeah, fantastic. You're a great example. So I'd like to open up the floor to any others that would like to ask some polite questions. You can use the raise the hand function, and I will unmute you. Just Zoom seems to be a bit slow in notifying me, so bear with me.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see any hands raised, so but thank you very much for your time and your patience. And if you are able to stick around, and in view of the timings, I did mention to our next speaker that we're taking him at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. He hasn't joined. Oh yes, he is with us. Mr. Gupta, are you available and willing to speak? We're a little bit early. Before we do so, I'd just like to give a silent round of applause for our last speaker for his great insight and some wise words